and a very good morning, viewers. You're watching NewsX. I'm Kriti Mehta. We now shift our focus to the TCS grooming gang case. There are two sides to every coin. And in this one, a particularly surprising one is emerging out of the curious case of one who has been named the key accused in the TCS sexual harassment and religious conversion case. For days, Nida's name has been put forward as an HR manager who worked out of TCS Nashik unit. It has been alleged that Nida not only ignored repeated harassment complaints made by female employees, but her role as a possible enabler was also repeatedly under the scanner. Yet now, 26-year-old Nida's family has come forward and stated that Nida is actually in Mumbai, where she is expecting her first child. Nida's family says that she is actually a telecom BPO's human resources team. Nida's family asserts that she is not among the company's senior employees, saying there are at least 3 levels of senior personnel above her. But questions remain. If Nida has always been in Mumbai living at her home, then why have officials been so far unable to trace her? On the other hand, if Nida is innocent, as her family says, then why hasn't she come forward to join the investigation once her name got linked to the case? All the while, the public remains stuck with the question, who is Nida Khan? The absconding mastermind or the telecaller who moved to Mumbai in January after getting married? Her family says so far no police has shown up to their doors. Let's also now go across to Supreme Court Advocate Juhi Arora with us in the conversation here. Advocate, thank you for joining us. Very good morning to you. The case is of course getting murkier. Now these latest details that are emerging, statements from Nida Khan's family completely contradicting what we know so far, that Nida was in a position of authority, that she was working with the mastermind and ignoring all these complaints. How important is it for her to now come forward, join the investigation, if her family's claims are to be perceived as true?
See, first of all, we need to know that the kind of the incident have already shaken the country, and it is becoming now day and day more and more serious, and offences have been coming coming, and we've come to know that such a kind of incidents have been occurring with a serious offence of sexual harassment, not only sexual harassment but also the conversion. So as far as the Nida Khan is concerned, of course she should come forward. Why has she been absconding? I just want to ask the question that why has she been absconding? If she is really not interested, if she is really not had done anything which is related to the crime which is reported, why she has been in contact with the other 7 accused which have been arrested? She has been in the regular contact with that accused, those who have been arrested. Then now she has applied for an anticipatory bail. If she herself is saying that she has no link with these kinds of offences in the TCS and she has nothing to do with the employees of the TCS, then why she is going ahead for an anticipatory bail on specifically with a plea or medical plea of being pregnant? So this itself asks a question, and itself poses some questions in the mind of the judiciary, in mind of the police also, investigators, that she should come forward and she should answer and she should join the investigation. Has she been innocent, then she should have never been absconding after the FIR has been registered and there have been specific allegations against this woman.
All right, stay on with me, Advocate. I'm also, in fact, joined in by Brinda Adike, women's rights activist. Brinda, thanks very much for joining us again. Now, the statement that's been put forward by Nida Khan's family in the TCS case, saying that she's innocent, that she's living in a house in Mumbai and she's expecting her first child. If all that is true, how murkier does the case become?
You're absolutely right. It keeps getting murkier, and the entire responsibility, the accountability must be taken up by the company and the IC. See, the law clearly placed the IC with quasi-judicial powers, saying that your responsibility to ensure that safe working space where respect and dignity is upheld, but more than that, where you will listen with belief. You will not tell the person, let it go. You will not tell the person, leave it. You will not tell the person that this will retaliate on you. So the IC must also be pulled up because they are the primary gatekeepers. And if these gatekeepers have allowed for something like this to happen, company is also responsible, but IC is responsible. The law was clear about IC having not only the responsibility, but also the authority. Now, both has been neglected by the IC. And that is why today they are, you can ask for what kind of kindness, mercy, compassion. But you allowed for this many women to be traumatized for years together. Can you imagine their plight and their families?
Yes, Brinda Rege, in fact, I requested to stay on with us. Let's take that question. In fact, to Ved Bhushan, former Delhi Police ACP, who's also there with us in the conversation now. Mr. Bhushan, thanks very much for joining us. One crucial element that's now come forward from the statement of Nida Khan's family is that she's a junior employee. And there are at least 3 levels of senior HR officials above her. How can Nida Khan then be held accountable if those above her haven't even been held or investigated so far? She's a very junior employee, and if there are allegations that she was ignoring the complaints of the women over posts that were reaching her, then what were the senior officials doing?
It's not because of the TCS company. TCS company is a major corporate and the biggest scandal in the corporate sector. Especially TCS is working across the world. Lakhs of youngsters, computer software engineers, accountants, and all the categories are working in these companies. It's a responsibility of Nida Khan to prove beyond doubt she is not guilty. Because in Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita introduced in 2024 and Maharashtra Freedom of Religious Act 2026 clearly narrates it's the burden of proof lies on Nida Khan that she was not involved in forced or coerced conversion of any religion. Now it's a subject of investigation. Nida Khan has to prove beyond doubt that she was not involved in this case because all the interrogations, all the CCTV footage, call details, and other financial implications will be investigated by the police because 9 FIRs were registered in this case by Nashik police and a special investigation team is investigating the case.
Right.
8 female employees.
Mr. Bhushan, now that her family is saying that she is in Mumbai at her home, of course the police is going to go and interrogate her and get the necessary details. But those above her, how is it possible that Nida could carry on doing whatever she was doing or ignoring the complaints or helping in this conversion of women, not preventing the sexual harassment that they had been subjected to? How could she be in the knowledge of all of this without her seniors also knowing about it?
Exactly, Kriti. All the senior bureaucrats or companies, HR manager or the big bosses of the company, here and there somewhere involved in all this matter. And that's why this is case of investigation. This is a serious issue of workplace safety and religious freedom. We are discussing all the time on television, social media of love jihad. This is directly a love jihad because this is a very serious issue. That's why Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and other states, 13 other states are used anti-conversion laws in this regard. And this is subject of investigation, and there are constitutional provisions also, Article 25, and there's a Supreme Court judgment in distance laws versus the state of MP. That's why we had to wait for some more days so that all the investigations took place, and freedom of conscience is everywhere. But workplace harassment and religious pressure is not acceptable in the laws and the general public of India. That's why I am stressing that let us wait for the purpose of the conversion, why these employees suddenly came and registered 9 FIRs with Nashik police.
Yes.
This is a very serious issue, Kriti.
Of course. Thank you very much for joining us, sir, and for speaking to us over this. Brinda, I want to come back to you again. Now, in your opinion, how possible is it that Nida is actually a very small pawn in the entire case? That a 25-year-old couldn't have gone on doing all this on her own. There are others who are probably controlling her and carrying out all these conversions and sexual harassment of women.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure there are seniors and people with more power and authority shooting on the shoulders of this junior employee. But everything said and done, the junior employee also is complicit, because at least she could have brought it to the notice of somebody else, escalating it to another person at a higher level.
Yes.
Yeah, so she is equally responsible. But like you mentioned, there are seniors and they might also be shooting off her shoulders. So they are equally complicit. So we just have to find out who are the ones immediately above her and who have been negligent or who have been complicit. Both is equally criminal. I mean, you cannot say I was ignorant of what she was doing, and you cannot say, oh, she didn't bring it to my notice. Both are unacceptable.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Then, Brinda, I also now want to go across to Advocate Juhi Arora, who's there with us. Juhi, if it's proven true that Brinda has been living in her family home in Mumbai and that she is pregnant with her first child, what are the provisions under the law that she could possibly invoke to get under a safety net?
See, first of all, if she is pregnant, and that has to be much get to know through medical certifications, and police is getting investigated through the medical channels, that whether her statement of saying being pregnant is correct or not. Even if we presume for a moment that she is pregnant and she is applying for an anticipatory bail, in that cases also, I would say here that it is not an absolute right. Keeping your medical positions in front of the court will not give you an absolute right over the anticipatory bail. It totally depends upon the gravity of the offense. It totally depends upon the kind of interrogation, the way you are cooperating in the investigation. There are how much chances are there for fleeing out of the jurisdiction of the court. So court will consider all these points. Of course, there can be one of the benefits, but I would also add on to it that it will not an absolute right for her to get a anticipatory bail just by a default bail being a pregnant woman.
All right. Advocate Arora, thanks very much for joining us and helping us with